Alrighty, fellas. Welcome back to another of Charlie's Schizo Rants. Today, we're going to be talking about this new mindset that's sprouted within me. And provided that God is willing, this will be the mindset that pushes me to overhead press 135 American pounds. Now, I've had a few goings on as of late, and your boy has been going through it in a sense, but it's, things are okay right now. Really, what all of this stems from is I got a girlfriend, woohoo, yippee, it happened, right? Except I really almost kind of wish it didn't at this point. The companionship of a woman, it's brought me to more joy than I perhaps have ever known outside of God, but also more anger and more sorrow. Really just a whole host of new emotions. And that's all well and good, right? Shut the fuck up. That's all well and good, right? It is what it is. Relationships are gonna have their ups and downs. But I am really, honestly, just looking for reasons not to break up. I am, searching desperately for any reason not to just, break things off here and now. And things were great, I thought we had something. Felt more understood and loved, and like I had a deeper connection with her than with any mortal man, right? And I was actually pretty happy there for a couple days. I loved her, and I at least felt like she loved me, right? Well, one night we were on a 6-hour phone call, right? We were on a 6-hour phone call, and things were starting to heat up a little. Things were getting a little spicy. And I shut it down because I'm waiting until marriage, right? And she said she also wanted to wait until marriage. Thought we were of the same mind as far as that went, but anyways, I shut things down. I led her in prayer. She said a prayer of her own, and we went our separate ways for the morning, because it was 6:30 a.m. Well, the night after that, I'm in another phone call with her. Just fucking sitting and chatting with her outside the gym, and she says one of her guy friends wants to talk to me. And, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is, he's gonna try and scare me into treating her right? The old, dad sitting out on the porch with the shotgun act. That's what she thought too. So I talk to him, I entertain him. I'm joking around with him because I don't realize what's about to happen. He starts saying weird shit that's out of character and doesn't line up with the, scaring me straight type thing. Starts saying that he's gonna fuck my girlfriend, and he already has fucked my girlfriend, and all other sorts of like random bullshit, right? Then he starts sending me pictures of her, and that changed things. You feel me? That changed things just a little bit. Now, the first two, it's the shit that I'd seen before, right? Not like the exact same pictures, but the content. And that's, while that made me a little uncomfortable that she would just, send that out there, I was like, whatever, who cares? I've got a 30-minute video of me shirtless up on my YouTube right now. And then we kept trading blows for a couple more minutes, and then he sent me one of her naked. He sent me a picture of my own girlfriend naked. Now, it was a selfie. It was a selfie. It wasn't like someone else was there, like, taking a picture of her. But, that, in the moment, I didn't think much of it. I thought he must have hacked her, or she must have, like, sent it to a friend, like, as a joke or something, and that friend, like, leaked it to him. He said it was a group chat leak, which I don't know if that can be believed. I really don't believe very much of anything that he said still. Though, of course, some seeds of doubt have started to grow. So, anyways, that's really... Oh, okay, no. There's one more thing that happened over the course of that little conversation I had with this dude. And this upset me more than really anything did. Was that he brought up how I stopped things, like, the night before. How I kept things from heating up too much. Stopped and prayed because I wanted to honor my commitment to my God before I honored some fucking chick that I'd known for like a week. I say that. We'd already started talking about, like, building our lives together. But I was like, how does he know that? I was like, ooh. I was like, how the fuck did he know that? And granted, I didn't give too much thought to it at the time. I was in COD Modern Warfare 2 lobby mode. I was telling this dude all sorts of things, but after that little, after I was through chatting with the guy, I was awful worried about my girlfriend, right? Because this fucking dude, this jabroni, he it was like her, like, best friend, her guy best friend. And she thought it was entirely platonic, right? For like 4 years. For 4 years, he thought it was entirely platonic. Or she thought it was. But he had feelings for her. He'd been crushing on her for 4 years. And I guess seeing her with me, hearing about how I was more committed to God than I was to her, especially, I think that really incensed him. And he went into his little autistic fit of rage. But that led me to a question. And if you're following along, you may have already reached the same question. 2 of them. Now, the first question that hit me, because I loved and trusted my girlfriend, was, why couldn't she come to me about fucking, if me, like, stopping things because of God, if that upset her, or I was texting with her about this last night, and she said that she upset herself because she thought I pissed her off, and I'm like, that fucking circles back to me. Why the fuck would you not talk to me about that? I could have just told you that, no, you did not piss me off. I just remembered who my master was. That was my first question, was why couldn't she just talk to me about that? Why go to some other fucking jabroni? Why not talk about, boyfriend shit with your boyfriend? And my second question, soon after that, was, of course, how the fuck did he get naked pictures of my girlfriend? Well, a naked picture. Now, I asked her about both of these things, and I tried to talk it out over a phone call, right? I tried to talk it out, over voice, because that's the better way to do these things. And a lot can be lost over text, right? Now, she outright refused to tell me who she was sending nudes to and when. Because I asked her, I was like, when were you fucking sending naked pictures of yourself around, and who were you sending them to, right? And that's a valid question. As her boyfriend, I have a right to know, don't I? And then, and she was like, I haven't even told my 2 closest friends about that. I'm not gonna tell you. And I was like, interesting. It's like very, very interesting. Because I've told her shit that I haven't told, either of my 2 closest friends. I've told her some deep, dark shit. Some of my closest held secrets that I really didn't think I would ever tell anyone. The type of shit that I really thought was just gonna stay between, like, me and God forever. And that's when I found out that was a one-way street. That she absolutely did not reciprocate. you know, and if the shoe was on the other foot, I would tell her, and maybe that's my fault for being too trusting. But so she shut me down outright, right? She was like, I'm not gonna tell you this. I ain't told nobody this, not even my closest friends. And that leads me into another series of questions, which I will get into later, right? So I was like, okay, whatever, fuck it. I'm not gonna try and draw blood from a stone here, right? I can sense that I'm not gonna fucking get anywhere, even though I really fucking need to for my own, like, peace of mind. And even though it's pissing me the fuck off that you don't trust me with this, not even that so much as it just hurts, right? So I focus on the other question I had, that being, why couldn't you just talk to me about this? And over like a 30-minute or 45 minutes, or maybe it was an hour long, I really don't remember. Everything's kind of fuzzy. Over the course of a text conversation, I didn't really get an answer. I didn't really get jack shit. She never told me why she didn't want to fucking talk to me about the thing that I did that upset her. So I left with an empty promise that she would tell me whenever she had shit going on. Get a text a few minutes later, and she's like, do you wanna call for a little bit? And I've been trying to get into a phone call with her basically ever since that faggot like started texting me, and he was all like sending me pictures of her shit. And so I was like, I fucking jumped on it. I was like, absolutely, yes, I want to call. I fucking started dialing her up, and I thought maybe we were going to talk about anything of substance. And basically what followed was 25 minutes of me listening to her talk about nothing. Talk about how much fun she's been having with her girlfriends, and how many fucking TikToks she's been watching, and how many parties she's been going to. Now, I had been worrying myself sick, and that's not me just saying that. That's not the fucking, whatever the word for it is, figure of speech. I mean, I was actually physically ill for however fucking long it was between all this shit happening and like last night, right? For about for somewhere between like 18 and 36 hours. And I know that's a bit of a broad range, but I hope you'll forgive me. For something like 18 or 36 hours, I alternated between 3 states emotionally. I alternated between wanting to curl up into a ball and cry. I alternated between wanting to blow my fucking brains out, wanting to take a razor blade and just, dig my fucking veins out. And I alternated between this sort of like cold creeping rage, sort of like there were a few points at which I was so... Immediately after that faggot started texting me, I was like actually trembling with rage, which has never happened before. I've never been that angry. I tend to have a pretty solid grasp over my emotions. I like to think I keep a firm hand on the reins, But for about a full day, it was emptiness, it was despair, and it was rage. And I damn near threw up several times, just because I've never been so emotionally distraught, or if I have been, then I was so apathetic and so numb to it that it didn't even like consciously register enough for me to give a fuck. Now, things being the way they are, I've been away from Jeremy and Natalia for over a year now. Praise God, right? And praise his name for his abundant mercy in delivering me out of that nightmare. But this is the first time in about, I guess it would be over a year now. The first time in over a year that I've like genuinely felt like I might do something that would get me interred in a psych ward. Now I think about it a lot, right? I think about it, I play with it, I kick it around in my head just for shits and gigs. This past day or so, it's been pretty serious. The same way that I'm looking for reasons not to break up right now, I was looking for reasons not to just like dig out my veins. And I mean, I told her, I was like, I've been worrying myself sick about you. I feel like I just chugged a gallon of rat poison. My fucking heart was beating out of my chest. Like, actually, I could, like against my fucking rib cage. And, she was all like, well, I appreciate you worrying about me, but I already have enough people. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you don't fucking care? Like, you don't give a shit that I've been feeling, like, the strongest emotions I've ever felt in my entire life. Like, the most intense despair and rage and anguish. Because I'm concerned about you, right? Because this fucker that was sending me all that shit was supposed to be like her closest best friend forever, right? And before she hung up the phone that night, she was all like fucking talking to me about like how betrayed she felt and all that, right? And we come from similar backgrounds, or at least if any of what she told me was true, we have similar stories. So I was obviously very worried, right? I thought she was gonna I was hoping and praying that she wouldn't fucking do some stupid shit and wind up in the psych ward herself. I still pray for her, actually. But, I come to realize, like, she never fucking cared to begin with. Like, everything was fake. Like, I don't know, I just think it's very interesting. It is super fucking interesting that shit only hit the fan after I like demonstrated that my faith was in God and that I belonged to Him and not to her, right? I think it's very, very, very fucking interesting. I think it's a delightfully scrumptious little tidbit there, and I think about that a lot. Like, she, the first, 4 or 5 days of our relationship, we would text and we would call, and I spent, hours a day just fucking talking to her, right? Because it was fun. Because she seemed like she was just as much in love with me as I was with her. And I believed that. For some fucking reason, I believed that I could be loved. Come to find out, I could be wrong. It is entirely possible that I'm wrong, but I really don't think so. I kind of hope that I'm wrong. I kind of hope that this is all just a big misunderstanding and that Charlie's being a little cuckoo, a little crazy, and he's jumping to conclusions. But ever since I showed her that I was serious about waiting until marriage, that I was serious about serving God first and her second, I don't know. All of a sudden that spark is gone. All of a sudden she doesn't want to call. All of a sudden she doesn't want to text me. All of a sudden it feels like she was just doing this to feel good about herself from the start. All of a sudden, I'm asking myself questions like, if her 2 girl best friends wouldn't know about her sending nudes, then who was she sending them to? If it wasn't an IRL thing, then it was probably an online thing. like I am. How many more of me does she have? How many boyfriends, how many deep connections does she have? How many times has she gotten naive, trusting, ignorant sons of bitches like me to love her, to trust her, to bare their souls before her? All for what? So that she can? For the sake of some fucking game? Was I ever anything but a walking dildo? That's what it feels like. No interest after she figured out she couldn't get sexual gratification from me. Been catching shit too. Last night, she was all like, "Oh, I'm sorry I haven't been texting you or anything. I've been away from my phone all day." You know, because I sent her a text at like 3 that afternoon. She got back to me at like fucking 10 o'clock. After I texted her again and I was like, "We need to talk." And a funny thing is after that, she was all like, "I've been watching so many funny TikToks all day." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have." I don't know, man. Having said all this in front of a camera, having fucking recorded all this shit and just said it all in plain English, I don't know. I doubt she's gonna change. You know, I doubt that spark is just gonna magically come back. I doubt that I'm gonna fucking wake up tomorrow and things are gonna be back the way they were, where it felt like I was her boyfriend and not like a fucking concubine. I hope they do. You know, if somehow, some way, things do get better, at the same time, I feel like this must have been the same dilemma that my own father went through with maybe not even all of maybe not even all of his wives, but with at least the last one, at least Natalia, right? Like, he must have seen all of her bullshit and just decided to disregard it. Now, love forgives, right? And I'm called not to hold shit against people. I'm called to forgive, right? Now, I'm not saying I don't. I'm not saying I don't. I do. I would be willing to look past a lot of shit. I would be willing to look past so much if I just thought that she was genuine about anything. If I just thought that she was ever here for me at all, and not just for a boyfriend. You know? For an orgasm. For something to talk about with her friends. Hypothetically, this all can change. Hypothetically, there's still hope. Practically, it may as well be over. I see no reason not to just break things off with her, except for this faint, vain hope that things can go back to the way they were, or maybe even better. I'm gonna give it a few days. Gonna give her some time to maybe start missing me. Or miss the feeling that I gave her. The great thing about all this is that it's brought me a lot closer to Christ. I can never rightly say that I've felt betrayal. At least nowhere near as deeply as I have recently before now. And being able to, having just like an inkling, having just a drop in the ocean of betrayal that Christ was immersed in, that I felt honored, privileged. And going through all that emotional torment, it gave me many opportunities to surrender myself to Christ, to humble myself before Him, to lay myself low and just say, Jesus, I'm yours, and I'm lost without you. Bear this burden. Take everything. And, you know, whether I fucking break up with her today, or whether we get married and have kids, or fucking whatever, I think that's the most valuable thing to come of all of this. our God is good and our Savior merciful. And if any of you have actually watched this all the way through, then that should be the takeaway.